video, we're going to introduce Chapter 10, the mole. So first we're going to take a look at formula mass, also called molar mass, which is something that we might have looked at before. When you're looking at a chemical formula, it gives you a lot of different information. It qualitatively tells you which elements are there, so this contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Quantitatively, it tells you how many of each of those types of atoms are there. So this little number, again, we call the subscript. It tells you how many atoms are present of that type. If this were an ionic compound, we would say how many ions are present rather than atoms, but it still gives you a quantitative total. So in this case, okay, for carbon, there'd be 6 carbon atoms, there would be 12 hydrogen atoms, and there'd be 6 oxygen atoms. When we get to next chapter, we're going to see that there might be coefficients in front when we're looking at balanced chemical reactions in order to balance the number of atoms on either side because of conservation of mass. So just remember, if you do see a coefficient in front at any point, that this coefficient tells you how many of these units or molecules are present. I say molecules because that's what we call a molecular compound. I say units or formula units because that's what we call an ionic compound. They're not made of molecules, they're large lattices. But if you see a coefficient in front, that would just, in this case, double the number of atoms that are present because you have 2, these are glucose molecules present, so total I'd have 12 carbons, I'd have 24 hydrogens, and I'd have 12 oxygens because I'm multiplying each of these subscripts by the coefficient. I'm just distributing that number in front to everything in the formula after it. And that's, again, something we're going to look at more in the next chapter. In this chapter, we're really just going to be starting to look at the formulas and subscripts. So just take a moment and try this example. Find the total number of atoms in each of these formulas here. This one happens to have a coefficient in front. So it'd be helpful to find the number of each of these types of atoms and then add them together. So if I look at this magnesium, Mg has a subscript of 1, so there's 1 magnesium. Okay, chlorine is within parentheses, so there's a 1 subscript within the parentheses, and there's a 2 subscript outside. And remember, whatever subscript is outside of parentheses has to get distributed to everything in it. It doesn't get distributed to the magnesium because the magnesium is not in parentheses. So in this case, there are 2 chlorines. 1 times 2 is 2. Oxygen has a subscript within and a subscript outside the parentheses, so we're going to multiply those two numbers. 3 times 2 is 6. And if I add these all up, 1 plus 2 plus 6, there's a total of 9 atoms. 1 of them being magnesium, 2 being chlorine, and 6 being oxygen. Let's take a look at this one. So N is within parentheses, and it has a 2 outside, so that's being distributed to it. So 1 times 2, there's 2 nitrogens. Hydrogen has a 4 inside and a 2 outside, so 4 times 2 is 8 hydrogens. Sulfur is outside and only has a subscript of 1. Remember, if we don't see a subscript there, we are assuming it to be 1. So there's 1 sulfur. And there are 4 oxygens. And if I add 2 plus 8 plus 1 plus 4, there's a total of 15 atoms. Okay, in this one here, there's a coefficient in front. So essentially, I am doubling all the number of atoms here because this coefficient of 2 is being applied to everything after it. So it's just one more number to multiply by. So there's 3 irons that I multiply by 2, so there's a total of 6 irons. Okay, phosphorus has a subscript of 1 inside, 2 outside. So that's 1 times 2, there's 2 phosphorus, and I multiply by this additional coefficient of 2, so that's 4 phosphorus. So oxygen has a subscript of 4, another subscript of 2 outside, and a coefficient of 2, so I'm multiplying all those numbers. 4 times 2 times 2, I get 16. And if I add them all up, I get 26 atoms. With this coefficient in front, if you'd rather, you could have done 3 phosphorus plus 3 irons plus 2 phosphorus plus 8 oxygens, and then multiply that whole number by 2, and you'd also arrive at 26 atoms. Again, this coefficient in front is something we're going to look at more in the next chapter. In this chapter, when we get something called formula mass, we're only going to be looking at subscripts here. Okay, so the formula mass is, you can look up the mass of each atom from the periodic table. We get what's called the atomic mass. That's the mass that's written on your periodic table for each element. So if you have an entire formula, you can just add up the masses of each of those atoms that are present, and that would be called the formula mass, the mass of the formula. So it's the mass of the smallest unit of a compound. It's the sum of all the atomic masses of the atoms present. This is sometimes also called formula weight, or molecular mass, or molecular weight, and later we will also see it being called molar mass. Okay, so what is the formula mass of NaClO? So I'm just going to arrange this in a chart. And when you do this, you don't have to make this chart every time. I just want you to kind of see how I'm organizing this math. So I'm going to pick out each element that's present. Okay, so in this first sodium, and I look at the subscript, there's one sodium atom here. Okay, if I go to the periodic table, I can look up the atomic mass and round it to one decimal place. It's 23.0. And I'm going to put AMU, which stands for atomic mass unit, meaning one atom would weigh 23 atomic mass units. Okay, when we get to moles, we're going to scale up to grams, and we'll see that in a moment. Okay, so the total mass of sodium in here is 23 AMU, 23 atomic mass units. Chlorine is my next element. There's only one of them, and if I look up its atomic mass, it's 35.5 AMU atomic mass units. And so that has a mass of 35.5 AMUs of chlorine. And oxygen, there are 3 oxygens here, and if I look up the atomic mass, it's 16, and so there's a total of 48 atomic mass units of oxygen in this formula. To get the total, all I'm going to do is add up the masses of each of these elements, and I get about 106.5 atomic mass units. You might be asking me, well, how many digits do I need to round to? I would always say to kind of keep one decimal place. If you have something very close to a whole number, like oxygen, it's like 15.99999, then you round to a whole number. If you have something like chlorine, which is right in between two numbers, it's 35.45, then definitely make sure you keep a decimal place, 35.5 here, because the more chlorines I have, the more that decimal is going to make a difference. So if it's very, very close to a whole number, keeping a whole number is fine. But if it has a decimal place like 0.4, 0.3, 0.6, 0.5, then keep that. Okay. So take a moment, try this example. So breaking this up, there's 2 aluminums. They each weigh about 27 atomic mass units, so that would be 54 atomic mass units of aluminum. Sulfur, there's 3 atoms, and because it's outside of parentheses, there's a 3, so that applies to the sulfur. If I look up the atomic mass, it's 32 or 32.1, so it's about 96.3 atomic mass units. And oxygen, there's 4 times 3, there's 12 of them. They each weigh 16, so that's 192, and if I add up all these masses, I get 342.3 atomic mass units. So one molecule, or this is an ionic compound, so we could say one formula unit of this ionic compound weighs 342.3 atomic mass units. Now, when you're doing this math, and if you wanted to show your work, you don't have to show it like this, okay? Like, you can show it how you would do in your calculator. There's 2 aluminums, they each weigh 27. There's 3 sulfurs, they each weigh 32.1. There's 12 oxygens, they each weigh 16, and I add it up. So you don't have to arrange your work in a chart like this all the time. You don't even have to put the units next to all the numbers all the times if you're doing this a lot. But I just wanted to show you how you can organize your work in not such a, in a more space-saving kind of way, and also a way that translates directly into your calculator. Now, you notice that my units is atomic mass units. It's the mass of just one formula unit of this compound here, just one formula unit that contains 2 aluminum atoms or ions, since this is ionic, and 3 SO4 2- ions. Now, in real life, we're not dealing with just like 1 or 2 atoms. We're dealing with millions upon millions of atoms, and when we're measuring things in the lab, we tend to deal with masses in grams. So these AMUs are not really helpful. That's not something we're going to measure out in the lab. Okay, if we have more atoms, it obviously would weigh more than this. So it would be convenient, though, if I could still use the masses on the periodic table, those atomic masses, and I could still add them up in such a way to get the formula mass of this particular compound, but rather than being an AMU, if I could be in a more workable unit like grams. So what they did is they came up with this unit called the mole, and we write MOL for short. I know it's so much shorter, just getting rid of that E. And the mole is an amount of a substance. So a mole contains 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd particles. We call this number Avogadro's number. Because sometimes it's annoying to say out 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. You can just say Avogadro's number. And it was invented by the scientist Avogadro. So why is this number important? How it translates is that this is actually how many atomic mass units are in a gram. So that's why this number is going to work out in such a way that a mole has a mass in grams exactly equal to that substance's atomic mass or formula mass. So instead of just putting the number in AMU, we could put that same number but put grams after it, as long as we're talking about a mole. So again, a mole is an amount of substance. A mole translates to 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd particles, and usually we mean molecules or atoms, but it's really just things. So if we say we have a dozen things, a dozen particles, we have 12 of them. If I were to say I had a pair of things, that means I have 2 of them. If I were to say I have a mole of things, it means I have 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd things of things. Okay, so it's a number. So these are 2 points about a mole you need to know. A mole contains 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd things. In this case, we're usually talking about atoms or molecules. Okay, and it weighs, it has a mass that's the formula mass in grams. Okay, so for instance, if we're talking about a mole of carbon, it weighs, if I look up on the periodic table, carbon has an atomic mass of about 12. So a mole weighs 12 grams. Okay, it's just that same number, but I put grams after it. And it contains 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. So 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms of carbon weigh 12 grams. So these are the 2 points about it that you need to know. Again, why is a mole defined like that? So that we can equate the mass of a single atom in AMU to the mass of 1 mole in grams. So for instance, if we're talking about a single atom of chlorine, if I look up chlorine on the periodic table, it has an atomic mass that says 34.5. So 1 atom of chlorine weighs 35.5 AMU, atomic mass units. Really, really small unit, something that we're not really going to measure in the lab. If we scale up, 1 mole of chlorine weighs 35.5, that same number from the periodic table, but grams. So awesome, I can still use all those masses on the periodic table, but put grams after it. Okay, this mole of chlorine not only weighs 35.5 grams, but it contains 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd chlorine atoms, Avogadro's number. Okay, similarly, if we're talking about any molecule, not just a single atom, but a couple of atoms all combined together, okay, the mass of a single molecule in AMU would be equal to the mass of 1 mole of that molecule, but in grams. It would be the same number, but a different unit after it. Okay, so if we're looking at one single tiny molecule of H2O, which contains 2 H atoms and 1 O, if I look up on the periodic table, hydrogen has an atomic mass of 1, oxygen has an atomic mass of 16, so 16 plus 2 hydrogens, 2 times 1 is 2, okay, would weigh 18 AMU. One molecule would have a small atomic mass, or small mass, very small AMUs. Okay, but if I'm talking about 1 mole of H2O, then I would use that same number 18, but put grams after it, 18 grams. So again, I can use that same technique of adding up all the different atomic masses, but the only difference is if I'm talking about mole, I'm going to put grams after it. A mole would weigh that amount in grams, okay? And how many molecules of H2O would this mole contain? It would contain 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd H2O molecules. Those Avogadro numbers of H2O molecules would weigh 18 grams. Okay, so this lets us scale up to real-world macroscopic amounts while using the same numbers we're used to seeing, using those same numbers on the periodic table that are helpful for calculating. Okay, so the mole will always have the same number of objects, 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd things in it, but it won't always have the same mass. Just like if I had a dozen elephants, 12 of them, and I had a dozen mice, 12 of them, I'd have the same numbers. They could each walk, side by side, but they wouldn't have the same mass. Elephants would weigh a lot more than your mice. So when I say I have a mole of things, I always have the same number, 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd, but they will have different masses. I would look on the periodic table to calculate it and put that mass in grams. Okay, so from here on out, we're going to call the formula mass the molar mass because it's the mass of the mole. And we're going to give it the unit G/mol, standing for grams per mole. Okay, and we might see the symbol capital M for molar mass. Molar mass is the mass in grams of 1 mole of the substance. We get it the same way we were just getting the formula mass, but the only difference is we're putting a unit of grams after it, or grams per mole. Okay, it's always equivalent in number, in value, to the formula mass, but has a different unit. take a moment, try calculating the formula mass or molar mass of each of these things. Provide a unit if I'm asking for molar mass. Take a moment, check your work. So Ca, there's one Ca, it weighs about 40. That's the atomic mass. There's 2 chlorines, the atomic mass is 35.5. And so if I add those up, I get 111 or 111. And if it's molar mass, I'm going to put grams per mole. Or I could say grams for every 1 mole. Okay, because that's 1 mole would weigh that amount in grams. Na2S, there's 2 NAs, they have atomic mass of 23. There's 1 sulfur with an atomic mass of 32. If I add it up, I get 78. And for molar mass, I'll put grams per mole. That's how many grams are in 1 mole of Na2S. Okay, the next one, there's 2 potassiums, there's 1 sulfur, 32, and there's 4 oxygens, 16. And I add that up, and I get a molar mass of 174 grams per mole. And here there's 1 magnesium, okay, that has an atomic mass of 24. There's 2 oxygens that are each 16, distribute that 2, and there's 2 hydrogens that are each 1, so this has a molar mass of about 58.3. This would be 24.3 if I kept that. If you just have 58, that's totally fine. So notice that I could just write grams per mole if they're asking for molar mass as my unit, but it's the same exact number that I was just calculating before using those periodic table masses, which we call atomic masses. That's how many grams are in 1 mole. Okay, take another moment, try this. Okay, determine the mass of each. If I'm looking for the mass of 1 mole, that's just the molar mass. So that's all I have to do. There's 2 carbons, they each weigh 12. There's 4 hydrogens, they each weigh 1. And if I add that up, I get 28 grams. Okay, and 1 mole of Na, if I look up the atomic mass, it's 23, so I'll just put 23 grams after it. If you put grams per mole as your unit, that makes sense. That's fine because that's the mass per mole. Now, just a question. We'll go down here and then I'll ask a question. How many atoms are in each of the following? 1 mole of silver would have 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atom. So notice these are 2 different questions and they represent those 2 concepts about the mole that you need to know. The mass of a mole is just the molar mass in grams. And the number of atoms contained in a mole is 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. They might say then how many atoms or how many molecules, or if it's an ionic compound, they might say how many formula units, because an ionic compound is not really considered to be a molecule because it's not a molecular compound. They might even say how many ions if it's like a single ion like Ag+. But those are all things. It's all that count number. It's all that Avogadro's number. 1 mole of carbon would contain 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. Notice that a mole of anything contains the same number of things, 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd, but a mole of each thing would have different masses because not all of these things would weigh the same. Okay, question, how much would 2 moles of C2H4 weigh? So this is how much 1 mole of C2H4 weighs. What if I asked for 2 moles? What would I do to this number? Well, I would double it. I would multiply it by 2. And this is something we're going to see in the next lesson. How we're going to use this molar mass is we're going to be able to use it to convert between moles and mass. Okay, how much would half a mole of C2H4 weigh? Well, it would weigh half of this. It would weigh 14 grams. And we're going to look in next lesson how to do this, not so much conceptually like I did here. We're going to look at how to do that with dimensional analysis by making conversion factors so you have a set way of doing this each time. So don't get intimidated by the mole. I know this seems like a lot of conceptual stuff right now. All you really need to take away from today's lesson is that a mole will have the mass, that's the formula mass, but just has the unit of grams or grams per mole. And we can call that molar mass. Molar mass is the mass of 1 mole. And a mole contains as many atoms as Avogadro's number, 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. And we're going to do a lot. This is just the intro lesson. So we're going to do a lot more with this tomorrow in terms of conversions. But I just wanted to give you a background. So don't get too overwhelmed. Again, the mass of a mole is the molar mass. Just add up the formulas that are there from your periodic table. That's the mass in grams. And a mole contains 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms, or or molecules or whatever that substance might be. If it's a molecule, if it's a formula like C2H4, then we say molecules. If it's just a single atom, we say atom.